The military is not only demanding, but it is known that the military is a place that builds strong character. Joining the military is not easy, and militaries around the world put their soldiers through a series of extreme tests to prove their capabilities, from juggling grenades to jumping out of buildings. Although many youths around the world dream of becoming soldiers after completing their education, what some of them do not know is that for you to become a soldier, you go through the most intense and brutal training. In today's video, we will go over the 10 craziest military training exercises. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so right now. And if you like this video, then make sure to leave a like. China's People's Liberation Army. The Chinese usually have to go through a 17-step obstacle course that includes swimming, climbing, and leaping over or going through objects that are set on fire. Now, even if you are in good physical state, you know the training gets intense, like it will destroy you. You will not die. You are expected to hold your breath underwater for 1 minute, and if you try coming up for a second to breathe in a little bit of air, you will be dunked right back in the water. So you have to stay there for a minute, and do not try to extend that minute with law. In China, they trained with a live grenade. This kind of exercise you might be familiar with. It is obverse with a hot potato, where participants pass around a potato or another random object until the music stops, and when the music stops, the person who was in possession of the object gets out of the game. It's kind of like that, although the soldier who runs the risk of being exterminated by a live grenade. It is the job of the other soldiers to dispose of the grenade into a large hole just before it detonates. You can imagine it is the ultimate test of a soldier's ability to cope under pressure. India's National Security Guard Commandos, NSG. Organizations in India's military forces test potential soldiers by giving them only a day's worth of food and water, and then candidates are left in a secluded forest to survive and find their way back. That is how new trainees are welcomed as an entry-level test for India's NSG. So many people are determined to join NSG that they compete with food and leftovers just to impress the people that are testing them. Another training program, candidates are needed to get beatings from citizens as an endurance and perseverance test. Another test they are mandatory to pass is to pass target practice when drunk, and this is simulating firing your weapon under unusual conditions. Russia Spetsnaz. In Russia, training in the selection process for the Spetsnaz is a long 5-year process. The first 5 months alone are designed to break recruits and build them back so they are willing to perform tactics that their superiors want them to perform. But the good thing through first Spetsnaz, their operatives get to select their own non-commissioned officers from their ranks instead of letting their superiors make the choice for them. That is during the review process, but their training tactics are kept really hush-hush. Much is not known about them. Larry Vickers, a resigned U.S. Armed Force First Special Forces Administrator and a Delta Battle veteran, recorded a video for a film called TAC TV. These exercises are a piece of a specific Russian inevitable instruction class, and one of their preparation methods includes shooting each other in the chest. Thought behind the exercise is to set up the soldiers for the second when they may be shot. Some end up injured while others get shot to the vest. Whatever the result, the warrior must have the option to return fire expeditiously and precisely. Students at that point chase people away while shooting at the ground. Taking shots at targets just creeps from the volunteers playing faultless spectators to show how tension influences one's focus. Regardless of these distressing environmental factors, the learner must have the option to stay quiet and complete his assignment. Australia's Special Air Service. In their training, there is one aspect called resistance to interrogation. The actual operative described the experience of the training and said that a white bag was put on his head, and then he was stripped and taken to a cell, and then he was put in stressed positions for hours and deprived of sleep. So if he even started to doze off or even looked like he was even thinking about slightly dozing off, he was slapped back to stay awake for 3 days straight. Now the Special Air Service Regiment has not uncovered all of their training methods, but apparently many people have lost their lives training to join them than actual recruits that were sent on real operations. U.S. Navy SEALs. The U.S. Navy SEALs are the most popular military in the world in the video games and media. They only have a 30-month training program. The program is only half of what the Spetsnaz does. It condenses a lot of depth into 1 week during the first 3 weeks called Hell. A week after that, the plebes head to their dorm at Bancroft Hall in a location known as Red Beach, tasked with teaching proper protocol to the plebes who now study and know the entire chain of command. On 4 hours of sleep, candidates have to spend 5.5 days consecutively covered in mud and in the cold, performing program exercises on coastal habitats, as well as paddling and doing excess exercises and fighting just to stay active, among other things. The craziest part is the trainers yell at them to surrender, and they teach them by eating and drinking food in front of them. Even though the training is intense, there is an emergency medical staff that is usually available at all times in case of any accidents during training. Students suffer surf torture, likewise called while shrouded in mud. They at that lead have their arms and legs hop as a piece of drown proofing. They should weave all over multiple times, coast for 5 minutes, swim to the shallow end of the pool, pivot without coming into contact with the base, swim back to the end, do a forward and in reverse somersault submerged, and recover a face veil from the ground of the pool. The insanity doesn't end there. A trainer assaults a student in the pool to reenact an aggressive drowning casualty. Israeli Chiatet. Over the course of 20 months, they must go through training and diving under extreme cold conditions with no visibility, power drop operations, demolitions, and more. Those who qualify are then assigned to air, sea, and land operations based on which one they did the best in. Now, trainees are sent out in real missions in worst possible circumstances. The Shaitan has medical personnel on hand at all times. Because the training is very intense, anything could happen at the background. Otherwise called Unit 269, Israel Sayeret Matkal is a completely mystical, unique activities disengagement with practically unbelievable status. Since its origin in 1957, Sayeret Matkal has achieved notoriety for its intelligent surveillance capabilities and counter-psychological warfares. They depend on mystery, assaulting in little numbers, and in camouflage. One of its most outstanding tasks is maybe the Entebbe salvage in 1976, when an Air France plane carrying 250 travelers to Paris from Tel Aviv was commandeered by psychological militia. The non-Israeli adventurers were discharged, yet 106 prisoners still remained. The salvage strategic 7 days to design and barely an hour to eliminate. The hidden team was transported in Land Rovers and a Mercedes-Benz. They thought of how to invade the close armed force, murder the psychological militia, and salvage everything except 4 of the prisoners. Just a single Israeli warrior was shot in the assault. That is the thing with the Sayeret Matkal. When you know it's there, you are out of time. South Korean Special Warfare Command. Usually the training goes for 10 days, and while they're there, they experience training in low temperatures because they train outside. They don't even wear shirts for their training. They have to run and do sit-ups and even wrestle each other in freezing snow. That's the craziest training you will hear of for a military training exercise. And you have to be a member of the South Korean Special Warfare Command. And if you want to be a member of the South Korean Special Warfare Command, you have to have a black belt in Taekwondo. The UK's Special Air Service. Candidates for the SAS are dumped in the middle of nowhere and told to overlay 40 miles in 20 hours while carrying a 60-pound weight and a rifle. And the students do not get food except for just a bottle of water with them. And their uniforms or boots are selected not to fit them. That is done on purpose. And for those who complete the process in the time expected of them, they then perform a 4-mile run in a half an hour. Pakistani's Special Services Group, SSG. The Pakistani Special Services Group go through very intense training. Pakistan puts their students through an endurance run on a stricter timeline than the United Kingdom does. After 2 years of service in the regular Pakistani military, a service member isn't eligible for SSG selection during an 8-month program period. Soldiers are expected to cover 36 miles of colony in only 12 hours, and after that, they have to run 5 miles for 5 minutes with a full pack. And at the end of the 8 months, SSG candidates have to perform 7 paradrops, and 5 of them are done during the day, 2 of them are done at night. Then after that, they proceed to the progressive commando training, and that is where they have to spend half of a year doing commando training. And when that is complete, they then get to join the SSG guys using some intense training. The United Kingdom's Cherokees. Now, because of their living conditions already like the Nepalese people who will apply for this British military group, they are subjected to punishing tests, and this is even before they can think of applying. But either way, the original tests are basic. They have some running and pull-up operations, and then comes the real testing. So recruits are expected to run 5 kilometers while wearing a 25-kilogram weight, and those 5 kilometers come with a 400-meter rise and incline, and done through a very dusty and rocky terrain, which has to be done in only 45 minutes. This is very unfair. The UK puts them through very impossible tasks. You fail before you even start. And that is the 10 craziest and toughest military trainings in the world. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to our channel. If you want more exciting videos, make sure to click the bell icon, and we will see you in the next video. Take care.